Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day. I be to Dr. Jalani, lecturer for the subject of PSLB 3163 Curriculum Studies. So today, my partner and I will be presenting on the implementation of CEFR in school. In order to come out with this presentation, we have conducted an interview session with teacher Salina Anak Perempuan Victor and also teacher Suraya binti Ahmad Nordin, who are the teachers from SK Iskandar Perdana. For this presentation, so the first part is teacher's role in CEFR implementation. So the first role of the teacher in CEFR implementation is teacher as a role model. Teacher acts as a person who inspires and encourages pupils to strive for greatness in every aspect of life, especially in learning. Teachers should always show positive attitude in which they can set, they can stand and give examples for the pupils to follow. This is because pupils will look up to the teachers as someone who inspire and encourage them to be excellent in learning. Therefore, the teacher should display and demonstrate good behavior, such as be ready and be prepared in the classroom. By being ready and being prepared in the classroom, the teacher should always be on time and also always show their passion, eagerness, and enthusiasm in teaching. Next, the teacher is also responsible to play their role as a facilitator for the pupils. This is because in CEFR, pupils are encouraged to be an active learners through participation in student-centered activities. Hence, in order to realize in shaping pupils to be an active learners, teacher must act as a facilitator who guides and assists pupils' learning. Teachers should always let pupils explore on their own and give assistance only when needed. This matter is important in order for the pupils to be developed in a more self-discovery, and also this matter could also develop their cognitive thinking by learning independently. This matter could be achieved through a more open-ended discovery and also group projects for the pupils to participate in. In order to do so, it is important for the teachers to monitor progress and also encourage pupils to solve a problem by their own, in which all of this matter could also develop their self-discipline. Apart from that, teacher is also responsible as a friend for the pupils. By being a friend, teacher functions as a motivator who encourage and listen to pupils' needs. This matter is significant in order to create a healthy relationship for mutual respect. As a matter of fact, teacher could give physical and emotional support, verbal and non-verbal motivation for the pupils to feel motivated and encouraged in learning. By this way, they will feel welcome and does not feel left out in the classroom. This method is also beneficial for the teachers to gain insight on people's struggle and perspectives in learning, on which, for example, why they cannot score, why they can score, why they could not finish this task, and so many more. Last but not least, teacher also plays a crucial role as a resource provider. By being a resource provider, teacher is responsible in sharing resource, delivering best teaching practice, and also giving information for the pupils. Also, as a resource provider, teacher should structure a plan and implement the scheme according to pupils' learning needs and preferences. Teachers should study on what does the pupils like, their learning preferences, what is their strength, their weaknesses, and such in order to structure a plan and implement it accordingly. This method is important as pupils always seek for their teachers for clarification of knowledge. By this way, pupils will definitely receive an extensive amount of accurate knowledge in which only the teacher could provide them in school. And with that, I think that's all for the first part for the role of teacher in the implementation of CAFR. With that, I pass my presentation turn to Amalina to explain on the second part.
Thank you, Arisa, for the explanation on the first part of the presentation. Now, moving forward to the next part of the presentation, which touches on the challenges and issues in curriculum that the teachers faced during the teaching and learning processes. Well, it cannot be opposed that teachers would likely face various challenges and issues in the implementation of CEFR curriculum, especially during the teaching and learning sessions in the classroom. And one of the challenges that the teachers face is regarding the use of international context textbooks for the lessons. When implementing the curriculum, teachers realize that the current CFR aligned curriculum suffers from an insufficiency of locally relevant content and learning materials, especially when it comes to the textbooks used at school. Despite the fact that CFR textbooks such as Get Smart 1, 2, 3, and 4, and also English Plus 1 for Year 5 pupils were printed in Malaysia, it still cannot be denied that the content of the textbooks was entirely derived from the foreign context. Well, in this case, it was taken from the international context. The use of textbooks which content was completely different from the social cultural experiences of Malaysian primary school pupils was a serious matter that went beyond their readiness to learn. This is because this issue affects their abilities to digest the contents of the lesson while also learning the language itself, which is English. Well, according to teacher Suraya, who is one of the English teachers in Sekolah Kebangsaan Iskandar Perdana, which is located in Perak, she stated that the international based contents in the CFR textbooks make it hard for her to conduct the lesson in the classroom as the contents limit her potential in creating creative lessons for the pupils in the classroom. For instance, there are some topics in Year 5 textbook include contents that are not connected with the pupils' experiences, such as shoveling the snow. Plus, in another case, the content of the textbooks present foreign cities such as London, Thailand, and even United Kingdom, where the pupils are not knowledgeable in terms of the cultural context there. And in fact, there are still many of them who are still confused with our own states in Malaysia. It is hard for the pupils to comprehend the lesson since this kind of culture or activity is not a familiarity in our pupils' daily lives. This would be a significant drawback and impediment or hindrance for the teachers to carry out effective teaching and learning sessions for the pupils. And clearly, the relevance of the textbook contents to the local culture becomes a primary concern for the teachers in the CFR-aligned curriculum implementation. Other than that, the issue that was mentioned before resulting to the arise of another issue concerning the increase of workload that the teachers need to face and need to deal with. Teachers nowadays are responsible in producing and preparing various learning materials and activities for the pupils to suit with their various level of intelligences and also capabilities. Since the issue of non-local textbook arose, teachers are required to take matters into their own hands to adopt the contents to suit with our own local culture, Malaysia, which is the culture that is connected to the pupils' background, experiences, and also previous knowledge. Teacher Salina expressed her struggles in establishing the connection between the language learned, English, and the culture content to her pupils' lives by instilling Malaysia pragmatic norms and also cultural values in the lessons. She mentioned that most of her time was devoted to work-related matters, and as a result, the teachers' jobs are made more difficult and the quality of the preparations suffers due to the needs of preparing materials hurriedly. And apart from that, it is a normal occurrence where one teacher is tasked to teach a particular subject for a number of different classes, and having to teach more than three classes in addition to all of the other administrative responsibilities requires a great deal of work and documentation, which leaves little time for effective teaching and implementation of CFR curriculum policies. In teacher Sarina's case, she holds the responsibilities as the head of English panel in SK Iskandar Perdana, as well as the excellent teacher for English subject. And due to this abundance of duties, she tends to have problems in coping with the huge amount of workload given to her, which consequently led to a greater personal stress. And this issue hinders the teachers to successfully implement the curriculum, where they are demanded to document and record the progress of each pupil through a continuous assessment of four different skills. And the burdens that are put on the teachers' shoulders causes them to have a hard time in preparing an effective teaching and learning sessions that is aligned with the CFR aligned curriculum. Despite the issues and challenges that happened, there are still some initiatives that can be taken by the teachers to overcome or tackle them in order to produce a better quality of teaching and learning sessions for the pupils according to the CFR curriculum implementation.
Thank you, Amalina. So the first way to tackle the issues and challenges in implementing this EFR is by doing an intensive preparation. Teachers should study and find more references on the topic before conducting the class. This method is fundamental to make sure that teacher is equipped with enough and also more information for lesson clarification. This method is also crucial to avoid confusion and making sure the class is smooth for lesson delivery. Apart from that, intensive preparation also means that teacher can make adaptation on the content of the lesson. As Amalina stated and explained before, there are many content that are not culturally familiar for the pupils. Therefore, teacher could choose and make adjustment according to the needs of the pupils. Teacher could provide the pupils with relatable examples, such as in Malaysian context, and then also give learning experiences and teaching materials for construction of meaning.
The next way that can be implemented to tackle the issue is by working together with colleagues through collaborative works or even discussions that are related to the teaching and learning practices in the classroom based on the CFR aligned curriculum. One of the most common mediums of collaboration is through participating in a professional learning community, or PLC for short. PLC is a group of educators who gather on a frequent basis to collaborate and exchange ideas in order to enhance teaching abilities and student results. Simply described, it is a group of experts, such as the teachers themselves, in learning together, and it is crucial for the teachers to focus on efforts in a direction that would result in teachers actively discussing their teaching practices that allow implementation of changes to the activities within the classroom sessions. And it is traditionally been designed to give the teachers with fresh expertise that will aid them in improving their teaching and learning sessions efficiency in the classroom sessions. And the motivating conceptions behind such activities in the group has been believed to the teachers that the newly delivered and shared knowledge will operate themselves to transform their teaching and learning views, which inspire them to adopt the reformation of goals and also leading them to rethink their teaching techniques to fulfill those particular goals. Well, normally, teachers' most common goal is to help the students to succeed in learning. And learning becomes more accessible and effective for the pupils when teachers collaborate to exchange intelligences, resources, ideas, and even expertise. And collaborating entails actively developing interpersonal relationships and striving for healthy interdependence that happens when teachers are at content, offering and getting supports without sacrificing their own personal responsibilities or even duties. Plus, when teachers work together and share their own insights, they can expand their repertoire of teaching practices that promote creative learning. And colleagues can also persuade to attempt new ways to assist the other teachers with new teaching and learning techniques or strategies that will raise the degree of academic difficulty to match the fundamental competencies that they want the pupils to achieve, since everyone is on the same page. And therefore, it is proven that the beauty of collaboration is not only the capacity to draw on many viewpoints and ideas, but it also helps in the willing to exchange duty for our pupils' own development. And the more stakeholders that invest in a curriculum implementation, the more likely that pupil will succeed. All in all, the incorporation of the CFR into our curriculum is regarded as a positive reformation in terms of improving our pupils' English language proficiency. Teachers, who are the real agent of changes, should be given resources that they need to solve the difficulties that they faced in implementing the current curriculum in the classroom. And also, stakeholders must also work together to guarantee that the CFR curriculum is implemented correctly in order to prepare our pupils to be proficient users of English language. And it is important to emphasize that while the CFR aligned curriculum is not a perfect solution to improve the pupils' learning, there is no denying that this current curriculum has a lot to offer to both teachers and also pupils. And that is all for today's presentation. I end today's presentation with Assalamualaikum and thank you.